March 22nd, 2022. If you would, please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Michael Murphy. Kevin Scully.
Here.
Marcy Daniel. Here. Chip Postiglione.
Here.
Stephen Thau.
Here.
John Seeley. Thank you.
Excuse me, Marcy, I think your mic is muted.
Here? Yeah.
There we go, thank you.
Okay, so with that, we have a rather short agenda tonight.
Fire exits.
Excuse me?
Fire exits.
Oh, yes. Before we get going, fire exits, the doors behind you and the front door from which you came in. Hopefully, we won't need them. So the first matter we have on tonight is a public hearing for James Flood at 206 Sunset Terrace. This is an area variance for side yard, rear yard, and maximum lot coverage. Is the applicant here tonight to present this plan?
Hello?
For the record, could you give the secretary your name and address?
James Flood, 206 Sunset Terrace.
Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion to open the public hearing?
I make a motion to open a public hearing.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Jim, you have with you here tonight?
Evan, my son Evan.
Okay. So I have a copy of your survey map showing the existing building here in orange. Yellow represents the extension of the building, and the purplish area down here with the diagonal crosshatch is a proposed patio. You want to tell the board and the public anything about your property and, why you need to make this application?
Well, at the time, it was a three-bedroom, very, very small house, and we made it into a one-bedroom. We're just looking to add a bedroom in the garage, excuse me. And off the back, make the kitchen a little bit bigger.
And you were sent here from the building department?
Yes, the building department sent us here because I submitted the plans to them, and they said we had to come here first for approval.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Mr. Flood?
Last month when we were here, we talked about seeing what could be done about the area coverage. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Yes. And I noticed that he submitted a new plan tonight. The maximum lot coverage is 25%. 4%. Last month, he had come with a lot coverage of 37%. So he knocked it down as much as he could. All right, so he did take that into consideration. So thank you for that.
No problem.
I didn't see the new plans. What gave rise to the reduction? Where did you reduce the coverage?
I took out the, as you look at the house, it would be the right-hand side sidewalk that's around.
Walkway, yeah,
The
okay.
walkway there, and I whipped around the back where it's going to be removed due to the deck back there.
This, what I'm showing up on the screen, is the original map. So it shows that walkway running all the way around the property. I don't have a digital copy of the new plan, so that's why I'm showing this. But there were, just a few differences. I just don't have it handy. Leave it at that. Questions? So with that, I would like to open the floor up to the public for any questions or comments. If you want to speak, please come down front, give us your name and address, and utilize the microphone.
If you want to speak for the public for this application, you need to come up here. Jim and his son will have to get up from the table. And you can sit at the table, we'll need your name and your address.
Those return receipt mailings?
Margaret Jones, Berkeley Terrace, Monroe.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now you're close to it.
It's all fun and games to something that's broken.
Margaret Jones, is there a way to make it lower? 16 Berkeley Terrace, Monroe. Okay, I have questions. He said one-bedroom addition he's looking to put?
You have to speak in.
One-bedroom addition he's looking to make an extension on the kitchen? And a garage. Okay, I'm confused with the plan here. It says 1,168 square feet addition, 1,168 square feet addition, and it says first floor 934. Is this 2 stories? Because if you're saying that in the garage, that's not 1,100. How does that figure come out?
I have a copy of the architectural plans. But is this all a single story, Jim?
It's going to be above the garage is going to be open for like attic storage. It's not going to be occupied, no bedrooms, no bathroom, nothing up there. I don't want to put a bonus room because we're.
Excuse me, one minute. Take the mic from the
Grab
thing.
the
and-
microphone, yeah.
Yeah, that one's a movable mic.
Sorry about that. Above the garage is just going to be storage.
Okay, so attic space.
Attic space. It's not going to be, I won't be able to sleep in there because it won't be tall enough for me to live there. Yes.
A lot of places like.
Is the addition part going to be 2-story here?
Just,
Share the mic, please.
oh, sorry, dear, sorry. Yeah,
Is the addition part going to be 2 stories, not the garage part?
no, off the back, the kitchen?
Yeah,
Will not be 2 stories.
I'm trying to figure out how it's saying 1,100 square feet. I'm not understanding this plan. If the garage is 497 and the addition is 498, that's not 1168.
Can you point out where you're,
It's a,
my glasses?
it's saying addition 1168, and it's showing this part 498.34, and the garage 497.84.
I believe what you're reading there is the finished floor grades. Those are elevations, not areas. The 497.84 is the elevation in the garage, and the 498.34 is the step up that you would have into the house area.
Okay, so he's looking for just a plain bedroom and a plain garage.
Yeah, and this here is just going to fix up the kitchen. You see how all those windows are there. I just want to put a
Okay,
little bigger kitchen in there.
okay. I was wondering if it's going to be addition, 2 stories, the garage, part going over the garage. Is there going to be extra bathrooms?
In the back here, this is going to be the master bedroom with a bathroom. So it'll be 2 bathrooms in the whole house.
Okay. It's not really my problem, but the well is like close to the line.
Yeah, that's one of the things while we're here.
Yeah, and I see like hay. Is there
Yeah, that-
problems with it?
No, what it is we just, it got very, very cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just throw some preventive medicine here, throw some hay around it, give it a little extra warmth.
Okay, because I do know it's hand dug and it's not
Yes.
that deep, so
Yes.
if multiple people,
Oh, no,
and if it has to go dig it deeper, you can't get to it. That's why I was asking extra bathrooms, extra
Oh, no,
bed.
no,
More people, it's going to use more water. And I just know the history. It was an old woman, single.
you know she's still there?
Huh?
She shows up once in a while.
Probably.
I swear to God, I know.
Yes, probably.
That's the God's honest truth.
No, I'm serious. She was very protective of her property.
Shows I sent it to you 6 days ago, but it won't let me resend it now. The submission that I gave you, the hard copy when you walked in, it shows I emailed them out 6 days ago, but I can't get back into that email to send it.
Yeah, but those were just maps of the property. What we're talking about here is the interior of the house. that
Right, but
really
just
think
if you
is-
wanted to pull up the new one, but I can't resend it to you.
No, that's all right. The new one.
Jim, do you still
No
have the paper copies of the plan, just so you could show her quickly? Because, no, I'm talking about of the plan, of the building.
Of the
Right,
architectural
Architecture,
plans.
because he had them last time, we all looked at them, so it might paint a better picture for her.
This would show, I'll look better here. Just let me spin it around the right way. So this is the bedroom, bathroom. That's going to be a pantry over there. And this is steps going up to the attic space, which will be closed door. This is the garage going in. So really, I'm only looking for this little piece here. This is the existing house.
Okay. So you're looking for a bedroom, laundry.
Well, yeah, bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen. The kitchen is already there, so it's just a matter of making it.
Okay, it's 1 story?
Yes, the only story you can see is above the garage where we go upstairs for storage.
Okay.
So Jim, this used to be bedrooms, one bungalow back then,
Correct.
and you're just making bedrooms bigger.
Yes, what we did is we had to.
Turn the mic towards
Sorry,
you.
sorry. We had to bring it into code because it was non-conforming for firemen to come in and out egress, so we had to change the windows, make the windows bigger for that. And we did redid electrical. Everything's already downstairs with the permit and everything else was done legit and legal. And we're just trying to clean it up to make it look better than it does right now.
Right. Any further questions?
Okay. So he needs, I understand the front yard, he can't do nothing. The house was built there in 1935. Now, with the garage, isn't the garage supposed to be 10 foot from your house? But he's looking...
Not if it's attached.
Okay, so,
If it's detached, then yes, it needs to be 10 feet away.
okay, so this is my question. If he flipped his addition, sort of, this is your same part that you have on this one, if you cut it out and flipped it, it's not taking any space that you need away, and then moved your garage 10 foot from your house, you wouldn't
Ma'am?
need this side yard variance here.
We're not here tonight to redesign his house,
Okay,
okay? We're here tonight to talk about the setback
Right.
that are in variance.
right, that's what I'm
The
saying.
side yard, the rear yard, and the increase in impervious area.
I understand that. But on the request, it's saying the side yard, he can't help where the house is, it's 6 foot off the line. And the proposed is 25.8 off the line, the new addition. Well, you need a total of 40 now, correct? 15 and 25? The code now is, the sideline is 15.
Which yard are you referring?
Side yard, any single side yard needs to be 15 feet. The total side yard is supposed to be 40 feet. So he's requesting a variance for the 6.4 that's on the right side that's existing, and he's requesting a variance for the total side yard, because if you add the
Right.
25.8 plus the 6.4, it comes up to 32.2 instead of
Correct.
40.
Right, that's what I understand. So what I'm suggesting, instead of asking for 6 variances, if he flipped his plan, not taking any space away from his addition, and if you moved your garage, you don't need the additional 8-foot variance. Can I show you what I'm talking about? If you took this piece here, the new addition part, and you flipped it this way, you wouldn't need this extra 8-foot variance. And I'm not familiar with the new town codes, but I believe your garage could be 5 foot from the sideline.
And if it's
No, detached. If he detached the garage,
it's just going to be closer to the side yard, reality. And as I said, we're not here tonight to redesign his architectural plans, for which he, already has submitted to the building department, and it would change everything.
right.
That's
Okay.
not the purpose of this board. We're here tonight to make a determination on the side yard setback, the rear yard setback, and the lot coverage. Those are the 3 variances he has come to this board for.
Okay. All right. The lot coverage, if he combined his other lot together, the joining lot, he would have his 15,000 square feet over it. He'd have 16,000 square feet. So you wouldn't need that variance. You wouldn't need the rear yard variance.
Right, but that's not what the application is. The other adjoining lot is a separate parcel. It's a separate building lot. He's not here tonight for any actions on that lot, and we cannot compel him to combine the lots in order to eliminate a rear yard variance. That would be rather burdensome.
Okay.
And he still has a 32-foot, 33-foot rear yard setback, which is pretty significant. Required is 40, so he's only 8 feet short on that.
Okay. And another question I have a big question about is drainage. The drainage up on the hill there is horrible. Sunset Terrace is not maintained, the drainage is not maintained, the road is a disaster. The water comes over the road and flows down to us. I've dug ditches, put pipe in, put the stones, put everything. The pavers get disintegrated. It's a very big issue.
Sunset Terrace is a private road.
Correct.
Right. So
Berkeley
there should
Terrace.
be a group of homeowners out there that have stake in maintaining that road. And that's who you need to speak to about the condition of Sunset Terrace. For the town to be involved, you would have to upgrade that road to town standards
Correct.
and then dedicate it to the town. That's not the case. This is a local private road for which Mr. Flood has access to, you have access to, all the parties along that road have equal
Correct.
access.
Right.
And if there's, if there's an ongoing problem with the site drainage, it's up to whether you have a road maintenance agreement or a homeowners association agreement, together with your neighbors, and work out those problems. Those are separate from this application.
Right. I understand that, but the bungalow was built in 1935. There is no drainage. Like on the newer houses, they require, you put the drainage in, you put the dry well, you catch the water before it goes to the next guy.
Sometimes that's required, sometimes it's not. Depends on what it is. Again, that's an issue that's out of the authority of this board. We cannot compel them to make such changes.
Okay, so drainage is not before.
That's not before us. The condition of the road, a private road, is a matter that needs to be taken up with the property owners along the roadway. And if there isn't a roadway maintenance agreement that you're all bound to, that might be a good idea to do that so that you do get that better level of roadway. But it takes, personal investment from all the people that live along the roadway.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm talking about the lot with the drainage. There is no drainage around the house now. The gutters come down and just drain, and it just comes. I could show you pictures where the roots are out of the trees. It's full force. So what I'm asking.
The sidewalk around the house prevents the water from coming into the house.
Correct. And it comes over the adjoining lot, and it comes down the next lot, taking all the dirt, the tree roots are showing all the way down Berkeley, and we catch the water there. And I understand about the private road, but I'm asking about the drainage on the lot. And when we built our house, you put in footing drains around your house, and you put it to, and you catch the water and you slow it down. That house doesn't have. I believe the new code, you have to, with your roof runoff, you have to catch that water.
That's not necessarily the case on an individual lot that has already been subdivided. If you're developing a subdivision plan and that becomes one of your best management practices, then yes, you can handle it that way, or you can handle it through a central system. But on an existing lot,
Right.
which this is, that already has a house on it, you can't compel them by those stormwater regulations, management practice.
Okay, because there's going to be 3 trees removed. Excuse me?
Addition will have drainage.
Yeah, it's going to have roofs that's going to shed
Existing
water.
house is not going to have drainage, but the addition will have drainage.
Okay. And,
Is that, Mr. Flood, is that correct? I mean, the addition is
I'm
being
going
built
by
with
this.
drainage, we presume, right?
It's on the
It's on the,
plans.
it's on the plans.
It's on
Right.
the plans.
The gravel, the swirl, whatever it's called.
so they don't require on existing home in addition to put in the dry wells? Is that,
Actually, he is providing that. Sorry, I didn't notice earlier. A typical architecture.
And those are all matters that would be handled by the building inspector as a condition to the issuance of a building permit.
It says connect to dry well.
yeah, see, I didn't see any of that. That's why
Yeah,
I
so
didn't see any of these plans, so I don't know.
Plans are up on the town web.
site plans.
Just the site plans. That's
Yeah,
all I'm
'cause that-
required to put up.
This is per the architectural plan, so that's where those details
Yeah,
are
that's what I
handled.
was trying to see, because,
And that, you know, it's stated here on the site plan, the building department has the architectural plans. If it is required by this set of plans, it will be installed.
okay, because
All right.
water is a big issue with us.
Yep.
Trying
Oh,
to,
I'll
there's-
request to the building department because they have more stuff than I have.
yeah, I tried to call him yesterday and didn't get back.
The number he gave me, I couldn't get through on. I don't want to announce what the number is on the
Okay.
TV.
Okay, so I guess, let me see if I had anything else. Okay, my concerns just were with the drainage, and I think you should write up a
Closer
little
to the mic.
the drainage, and with the road, I think it would be in your interest to go look, because it's not going to survive big, heavy trucks, and then there's the issue of fires and safety. It's in poor condition.
That's a private road issue.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
I just had one question. I'm looking at the revised plans. It looks like I see, it says reduced 237 square feet on site with latest revision on February 23, 2022. And then it's pointing at the existing concrete surrounding the house, and then the concrete walkway in the front and in the back. But they're still showing the plan. So each of the things that is pointing to, those are the things that are going to be removed to drop down the lot coverage?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Comments from the public? Please come forward, state your name.
Talking to the mic.
Larry Tracy.
Talk to the mic.
Larry Tracy, 5 Berkeley Terrace, Monroe, New York. We're from Berkeley Terrace. That's the road below Sunset. It's a complete hill, Lake Region Boulevard. It's like the steepest part of Lake Region going up, so you know. The property in question at 206 Sunset is directly across the street from me looking up. For years, I get washed out. My lot, my home, I take water all the time. Now, I'm a builder and I'm a retired engineer from New York City, okay? I proposed to put a house up in Monroe 16 years ago in the zoning board in Monroe at the time, and they required me to put 2 dry well tanks in, which I have the plans for then, but the project didn't go through. But back then, they was said to me that you got to control your water. Now, if you have a house and they're putting an addition on the house, you're losing soil. You're putting a roof up now. That soil is gone. So the water up on Sunset, there's nowhere for it to go. It just comes over Sunset, through the property at 206, down to me. We have a little culvert on Berkeley Terrace. Where we catch, we catch. If not, it washes over Berkeley, hits your home, hits your lot. You're in mud all the time. Now, I have diagrams of the dry well tanks that Monroe wanted me to put in my home. I know the home across the street on Lake Region, they also had to put dry well tanks in, 2 5,000-gallon tanks. So I would like to see, the addition doesn't bother me, but when you're taking soil away, where's the water going to go if it's not going to go in the ground? It's going to hit that roof, it's going to come off the roof, it's going to come down the gutter, and it's going to snowball down to me. More water. I can't handle the water now. You know what I'm saying? What do I got to do? I know New York, I got a letter the other day, we're having flood insurance now. I may take out flood insurance if nothing can be done. This is a 100-year-old community. This is an old bungalow, and the water just keeps washing down. Nobody's maintaining Sunset. Now, on behalf of 216 Sunset, I went to him in September of last year. His name is Paul. He's away on spring break with his grandkids, so I'm speaking on his behalf. He went, got a backhoe, spent $1,200 up there on Sunset at the beginning where he lives across the street, and he dug out the culvert. It's not by 206, but 206 going down, it's just water over the road, through the lot. There's no stopping it. I mean, if you're going to put addition now, like I said, and take soil away, where's the water going to go off the roof? If you don't make them put dry well tanks in to catch the water, there's no sense living where I'm living now. You got to stop the water. I mean,
Well, I think we covered that topic previously.
yeah,
that-
what I'm saying with his property, with the addition, you're now losing soil, correct? Where's the water going to go if it's no ground there?
Oh,
It's going to hit the
he's-
roof and go down.
He is taking the step to put in seepage pits. I mean, I didn't notice it on the plans earlier, but apparently it's there.
I didn't see it. Can I give you this? This is what Monroe ZBA wanted from me, and this is the diagram of the tanks. And this is what it looks like on the house.
In his plans, he's showing that they'll be putting in a dry well tank, and they're also doing under drain details. That's not for the, so that's going to be up to the building inspector.
So you've got to let the member speak. When he's speaking,
Yeah.
it's being
It's gonna
recorded.
be
You
up to
can't
the-
speak over him, please.
Up to the building inspector to enforce that he's putting it in right. That's not for us to say in his plans.
You're interrupting him again. Please. We have to have order in the meeting, and everything's being recorded, and you're not being recorded, but it's going to interrupt what he's saying. Then you'll have a moment to speak into the mic. We just have to have a clear record, sir.
Thank you. I mean, what you have now going on now, it's not going to get better. If you don't make him make improvements to that, where his house is now, and his lot behind him, directly behind him, is right on my border. So he's got 2 properties back to back to me. And the water's just snowballing down the hill. I mean, somebody's got to do something with the new construction. The ZBA back in 2007, on my building that I was building, on my home, they wanted the 2 dry well tanks in the backyard. That was something they wanted. They demanded, and I had to go get the plans changed again.
That was a brand-new construction.
That was a brand-new construction. They wanted the tanks in because it was on the hill, exactly where this house is, right behind him, the lot. I have a lot next door to me.
As we mentioned, there is a provision on this plan for dry wells and under drainage system. It's shown on the architectural plans. I don't have copies of those.
I don't need that. I didn't see it.
You would have to take that up with the building department. But there again, that is not our technical requirement to review that. That's up to the building inspector.
I mean, if you keep taking soil away, where's the water going to go?
I agree with you 100%.
You can't send it to your neighbor. What am I supposed to do with it? I'm already getting enough to begin with. I mean, putting a roof where there's soil's disappearing now, it's going to come off
It
the roof.
happens every day, you
Yeah,
know,
but
with
you
every
gotta-
new
you gotta
piece of
start
construction.
somewhere.
And, you know, as this plan indicates, he's taking steps to alleviate that.
I don't see them, but I don't see the plans. I don't see the drywall. I don't see how many tanks. Those 2 tanks are 55,000. 5,500, 2 tanks, catching the roof water.
Okay,
Catch some water.
I'm sorry that I did not have a copy of the architectural plans that lay out those details.
I want to leave you these pictures, too. Like I said, I'm speaking for the neighbor that's away on spring break up on Sunset 216. He paid $1,200. We've been to the highway department numerous times. I was just down there last week, too. It's a private road, we know that. So he spent $1,200 in October to dig the culverts up and repair the road at the beginning of Sunset, before 206. And I don't want to see his culvert with the big trucks, because this road is substantially small. What he paid for and what he dug out, and he's got markers up and flags, it's pretty good, it's working, it's catching the drainage. Big trucks come in there, we get cement trucks for his addition. You got to see, the highway department said take pictures now and then make him responsible for thereafter. I just want something in writing that he's going to take care of the road as bad as it is now. That it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. True? It's only going to get worse.
So
And you're coming in there with a
what
Home
we could
Depot
put in
truck.
as a condition is that they'll
Right,
do
he's
a
gotta bring it back.
pre-construction survey of the road.
Right.
And make sure that any damage that occurs due to the heavy construction
Correct.
trucks is repaired by Mr. Flood.
Then we
Now,
need that.
I also point out to you that garbage trucks are using those roads every day, and they're nearly as heavy as a concrete truck.
I got to correct you on that. We're on Berkeley Terrace, the private road below him. We do not allow the garbage truck on our road. I've paid $14,000 to asphalt my private road by myself. $14,000. I don't get nothing out of it. I don't pay taxes. I don't want the garbage truck in there. Everybody takes their garbage, they wheel it down to the Lake Region Boulevard. They could do the same thing up at Sunset. They could all chip in and fix the road, make it nice for themselves.
Yeah,
Like we did.
that's what I mentioned to
And
the
don't allow
lady earlier.
Don't let the garbage truck in.
Yep.
So everybody wheel their garbage down. What's the problem? I mean, you live on a private road, you got to maintain it, you know? We have a road maintenance agreement with us. They got to get organized up there, but this gentleman that I'm representing now, he spent his $1,200. He dug the culverts out. He's opened the access pipe under the road on Midway up there. Can I leave you these pictures on behalf of him?
Sure, you can introduce those pictures.
The pictures are numbered on the back. 1, 2, 3, this is the map. And then I'll just go sign the picture. And this, here's the lot over here, 206.
So the member of the public here just introduced into the record 23 photographs of the roadway surrounding the flood property, along with a photo location map marked out on a tax map of the area, and also some example sheets from his previous land development project where he showed what types of seepage pits were required for his lot.
Are these the same photos that we have received already?
I don't know.
No, these pictures were just developed by me. They were just taken 2 days ago.
Oh, okay, because we received, from Ms. Jones, we received a bunch of photos of the roads.
I also would like to give you a survey report to the zoning board about the dry well tanks, about how they hold a 100-year storm and percolation test of the ground. The calculations for them 2 dry well tanks, they did like a percolation test of the soil right across from Sunset there, and how the ground is slow absorbing the water. It was done by a Dan Yanish, who was directed to the town of Monroe engineer at the time. about how the 100 tanks would hold a 100-year storm, so 2 of them is more than sufficient for the property. I don't know if they have 1 on their plan, but they suggested 2. Can I bring this up and give this to you?
What year was that?
Yeah, that's my concern, is the water, because looking at his house, it's a complete pitch hill, so the water just snowballs down. We got to stop it somehow. And, you know, this is a good start.
Have a series of erosion control notes on this map covering that issue.
I can't see it.
All right, are there any further comments?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Would like to the applicant would like, I don't know whether there's any other public that wants to come up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The water comes from way beyond me, comes over Hillcrest, everybody's backyard, drainage in the front of 206. I don't have cascading water coming over the road through my property down to the Barclay, which at the end of my property has a culvert to catch any water, right there at the foot of my property.
Or
Yeah,
you just-
this just came up tonight with this gentleman and the water issues.
Albert, that you-
All right, it's well below that. It's,
Yep, get the mic.
have to keep George in the loop.
sorry, George. As you can see, below here is the other parcel that I own. And below that parcel is where this gentleman is talking about the water cascading over into his property. But at the road that he has paved, there is a culvert right here that catches the runoff that comes off my property.
And questions?
Is there anybody else from the public to make comments? Yes?
Yes, the culvert is on Berkeley. He is correct. But I'm talking about before, and the culvert on Berkeley, it also has an easement under Berkeley Terrace that when the building went in across the street, they required the builder. There's an easement that runs down through 12 Berkeley, 12, Charles? 12 Berkeley Terrace? 11 Berkeley Terrace. There's an easement that runs down the side of his, and the builder also built on Valley View, the lot behind that. There's an easement that goes, he bought up the lots around and built it. The easement goes down to Valley View, across from Valley View. It goes down Glen, I think it's Glen, it was a private road. Glen, all the way down to the lake. The easement does go through there. But I'm talking about before Berkeley, the water coming at us, getting to Berkeley, and it's washing the lawns away, the roots. You can't keep pavers. It physically, you'll pick them up and move them. It does come across the road. It's not Mr. Flood's problem alone, but there is a big issue with drainage and Sunset. The water does come from Hilltop, and I'm going to have to go speak to the highway department on that because it's not fair to the people that was a private road that they built up to the town's par, and the town took over the private road maintenance part. But the problem was Hillcrest never had drainage in it. So the lake comes across Hillcrest down to Sunset. The drainage on Sunset is not working. The culverts are not clean. If anybody rides up there and look, you'll get it going at a stop. It comes over the road. There'll be somebody clean theirs here, and it'll sit and stop there. There is a catch basin at Lake Region, and where Paul, that he talked about, the $1,200 dug out, he made it go so far, but then the guy over here filled in the culvert, so it comes through and it just goes this way. It's a big issue, the drainage.
It sounds like there are a lot of private roadway issues that are out there that need to be resolved, and I know it's not an easy thing to work with a group of neighbors to get everybody, rowing in the same direction and willing to contribute to these things, but, if they're private roads, there's little that the town of Monroe can do.
I understand that completely, yeah. The other is the town of Chester and the town of Monroe, because they really were not fair, like Mr. Tracy tried to explain. South side comes here, and when it's at the Monroe-Chester line, so they got it paved to there, and then they just cut it off. And it's sloping right at the rest of the south side where the people have to maintain. So that's an issue with the town of Chester. And then it turns onto Hillcrest, which is, the first house is still under the town of Chester, and then the rest of the town of Monroe. And there is no culvert. There is no drainage there at all. I know that's not your problem, it's a big issue. Drainage is a big issue to us. And I just have one question, too. We spent all this money on the comprehensive plan, and if there's ways to cut back on forgiveness, it should be considered.
I don't understand.
Ways to cut back on what?
Forgiveness. Meaning, if Mr. Flood had joined both of his lots, he wouldn't need so much forgiveness.
Oh, I
Variance.
see what
Oh,
you're
oh,
saying.
oh, right, okay.
I know what you're,
We cannot compel him to join two separate pieces of property. He's got rights to build on that other lot as a separate lot,
Okay.
and he's not doing that right now. And we're not going to compel him, by this board to join those two lots to solve a rear yard setback issue that's only 8 feet short of meeting code.
all right, I just know
Okay.
on previous ZBA boards, things were handled differently in the prior years. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. If that's the last of the comments from the public, We've heard from the applicant. Does the board have any further questions? We're good? Okay, in that case, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. Anybody second that?
I'll second
I'll
that.
second.
I think Steve beat you to the, yeah? Okay, all those in favor of closing the public hearing,
Aye.
please say aye.
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 Oh, wait.
Thank you.
You raised your hand. Did you want to have a comment before we close? Oh, I thought you went like that. Okay.
Want to spend some time making a determination on this matter, or do we want to get through the next public hearing?
Make a motion to go into attorney-client privilege?
Some legal advice?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so, we've taken everything we've heard tonight into consideration, and, the plans that have been submitted and the requests that the floods have made to build this project out. And some good questions came up that we didn't completely have the answers to. So, generally, we are satisfied with the layout of the property and the buildings that are out there. What is the big question is, what is the actual roof drainage system being connected to? We see notes here that say refer to the architectural plans, which we do not have at our disposal at this time. So I would like to make a proposal on the variances. On issue 1, variance from the total side yard, 40 feet is required, 32 feet is requested. I'm in favor of that. On the rear yard, similar situation, 40 feet is required, 32 feet is requested, and that's a rather small variance. Now, the maximum lot coverage ratio, 25% is the maximum allowable, 34% is what they're asking for, which is a reduction from their original application of 37%. And I would be in favor of that, subject to review of the site drainage plan by the town engineer.
And so ordinarily what you would do is go through the 5 factors and the balancing test, but I understand that. So it seems like the chairman is looking at those and thinking about the 5 factors in a way to grant the variances, but subject to and conditioned upon the review and approval of the drainage specifically by the town engineer. Just to be clear also, I believe the application also requires technically variances from the other pre-existing nonconformities.
Oh, okay.
So there is the lot area, the lot width and front yard that are not impacted, but because of the proposed expansion, we have to include those, and then the existing side yard is 6.4. So it would be,
Okay, so we add to that list then?
Yeah. I think it's in the application, and it's in the review
Yes.
letter.
So the minimum lot area requirement is 15,000. This is a pre-existing lot of 8,367 square feet. That was pre-existing. This application makes it no smaller, no larger. Lot width, the required is 85. What's existing is 80. What's proposed is 80. There's no change requested there. The front yard requirement is 40 feet. 19.7 is what's existing. 19.7 is what's provided. Again, no change in that variance. Single side yard, minimum required is 15. What's existing out there is 6.4 feet. What the applicant proposes is just the 6.4 feet. The additional width of the house is being added to the opposite side of the house where there is greater room to expand. So there's no change there on that. So that would all become part of the resolution that we're looking at. Now, if we go through the 5 factors, one, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting the area variance. In my opinion, this is a single-story small house on a small lot, which is consistent with what's in the area. Item 2, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method which will be feasible for the applicant to pursue but would not require variance. Whether the requested area variance is substantial. Again, all the existing ones are not changing, all the existing non-conforming are not changing. All the existing non-conforming requirements are not changing. We're asking for an 8-foot variance on the side yard, 8-foot variance on the rear yard, and a 9% variance in maximum lot cover.
That's it.
Item 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood.
That's covering that.
Review by the town engineer.
The review from the engineer.
I agree.
So could we even answer that?
Say no, there is,
Subject
presume
to.
no impact, subject to and conditioned upon the review and
Okay.
approval by the town engineer.
Yes.
And item 5, whether an alleged difficulty is self-created, and it's clear that, yeah. So, having gone through the determination factors here tonight, and the listing of the lot variances noted earlier, would anybody like to make a motion on granting the requested variances, of course, subject to the review of the town engineer on the maximum lot coverage
Drainage.
The drainage.
of the drainage, yes?
I make a motion to pass the variances pending a review by the town engineer regarding drainage.
Subject to, conditioned upon.
Subject to condition.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get the resolutions drawn up, Jim, and then you can return to the building department. You should probably contact the building department about having the drainage reviewed. And, make sure you present them with a plan that... All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight.
Thank you very much.
And your concern in the development of the town of Monroe.
So am I to send something to the town engineer, or I have to let him know that something's coming, so I don't know?
Yeah, let them know something's coming, and Jim, you should be responsible for pulling together the information that he's going to need to review. I don't know what's in your architectural plans that details the drainage system, because the note on the site plan had like 3 options, so we're not sure which option is being implemented. And that he's going to want to know, okay, what exactly are you doing out here?
I wanted to forward that first and have everything complete and say I can turn that in. Hopefully this could.
All right,
Going to
thank
bring
you,
it
sir.
to me to send to Sean? Or are you sending it directly to Sean? You'll bring it to me to send to Sean?
Yes, because I don't know Sean.
Okay, so if you drop everything off, I am out of the office on Friday,
Okay, no problem.
but even Monday, and then I will let Sean know that we need him to do a review on the drainage.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
On the mic.
Good night, George.
Okay, with that matter being taken care of, the next item on our agenda is returning public hearing for Eagle View Estates. However, the applicant contacted us today saying that they cannot make it tonight, so we will carry this matter over to our April agenda. Everybody okay with that?
Aye.
That would be April 26th. Just because it's a public hearing, we have to note the date.
Okay. And the next item we have on our agenda is DG management. Last month, we closed the public hearing, so there was no further input required from the applicant. The applicant had other matters to attend to tonight, so that they're not here tonight, but that does not prevent us from moving forward with making our resolutions and determinations on this application.
In that regard, I can interrupt for a second. The attorney called me earlier today to ask, what was expected, and is he expected to be here? Would the board have any questions of him? I said, well, the public hearing's closed. You can make up your own mind as to whether you want to come or not. He says, look, but I just want to let you know that I'm available. If there's any further questions of me, I can respond to them. If the board needs extra time to make a decision, I'd be happy to extend the time, because the 62 days would expire technically the day before the next meeting.
Right.
So he wrote an email confirming that, if you do want to hear from him, he would consent to come back next time to answer those questions, and would consent to extend the time to make a decision to the 63rd or 64th day in case you didn't want to make a decision tonight or needed more from him and wished to make a decision at the next meeting. He sent an email to that effect to Noreen and copied to me today at 11:21.
Hearing from this applicant, summer of 9 months, we everything have asked them on a couple of occasions to consider coming back to us with a revised plan that needs less in the way of variances. They've held steadfast to their plan that they had from the beginning. There have been no changes made to that plan. So, we're still sitting here with all of the dialogue that we've gone through with them over those many months. We're still sitting here with the same exact plan, asking for the same exact variances.
If I could interrupt there,
Well, there's that
remember,
one
they did make the
change.
one change
Giving
where
them-
they eliminated the need for the one variance by changing the proposal on the open space from being part of Lot 1 to being its own lot to be dedicated. They did make that one change.
Also, the property to be, I don't know what the correct terminology, given to the town.
Right, they proposed, I think, to dedicate it to the town or to some other entity.
Some other entity.
To be
Yeah, to-
formed.
Has there been a
or-
resolution with that? Has the town decided, or any other resolution?
To my knowledge, the town has not decided one way or the other whether to accept that.
And I don't even think they made a formal presentation to the town on that. So, they've been throwing darts at the wall, hoping something sticks on this. I just want to mention that, in my review of the code, I don't see how the ownership of that green space it makes it any different. To me,
Yeah.
the property line is the property line. And whether it's separating a private lot from a municipal lot or a private lot from something that's owned by some non-governmental agency, say an open space institute or something like that,
Property line.
it still doesn't change the fact, in my eyes, that that's property line. So we're not going to make a determination on that. But, in the back of my mind, I'm not satisfied that that's a real thing. But they asked us not to make a determination on that. So, when we write up our resolution, I want it to be perfectly clear that we, by approval or denial of the open area variance, that we're not taking any position on the building setbacks, either for or against them, just so that it's not misrepresented to the town planning board that we've approved that, because we have not. And I don't even
But
believe.
it also means we haven't disapproved it.
Right, we haven't disapproved it, we haven't approved it, we've taken no action. And I personally disagree with their approach that.
Well, I understand that, and I agree
Yeah.
with you on that, but wouldn't that then take us past the 62-day? Because we didn't
No,
take action on it.
We're acting tonight.
But to my
No,
memory,
but
they.
on that one issue, if we take no action on it,
To my memory, they withdrew that application and said that we've amended our application to no longer require that as a variance. Right? Is that
okay.
everybody's
Right.
recollection
No,
as well?
Yes.
You're
Right.
saying
Okay.
that we should remain silent on that topic, but I don't want that to be misconstrued by the planning board that by not.
Yes.
Yeah, that we said yes.
My only concern was that which has been resolved, if it was looked as we took no action, we would be the ones going over the 62-day mark. But I just want to make sure that we're not doing that.
Well, I guess as.
But if they withdrew that, and they did, I remember that.
It's
Yes,
variance that they're seeking.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not seeking it,
Right,
and
they're not
even
seeking
so, if they ever came back and argued to the contrary, if you miss the 62 days, it's a default denial. It's not like a subdivision where if you don't make the time frame.
I just want to make sure that ducks are in a row.
So if we make no determination, it's a default denial? Right. Yes, sir. So, what I have here up on the screen is the map that we've been looking at for a while now. The green areas indicated on this map are the open space areas that they had proposed. The large orange area across the back is the 155-foot wide O&R high power line easement. The orange leg across the west side of the lot, that is an access easement to the O&R easement, because there's really no direct access to this property from Orico Terrace, because that's like a 30 to 60-foot high rock face in there. The lots are laid out in the white area, and the one other thing is this pink area. A rough representation of how much area they are short of meeting the open space requirement.
You did that.
Yeah, I did
I
that.
was like, I don't remember that one.
They recently submitted
Okay.
another map, very similar, and our numbers matched. Looking at the areas on the property, the total tract area is 9.5 acres. O&R easements 1 and 2 add up to 4.16 acres. So that leaves an allowable developable land of 5.34 acres. And of that buildable land, 50% needs to be buildable or can be buildable, and 50% needs to be open space, right? So each of those categories come up to 2.6 acres. The proposed open space that they're providing is a total of 1.66 acres, where they need 2.67 acres. So they're off by a full acre. They are representing a 31% shortcoming on the code requirement. I just wanted to, review the metrics of what's before us tonight. Just taking a look at these setback requirements from the building to the open space line. What they've provided is 25, what's needed is 75, so they would have to shift that building envelope over 50 feet, and there would be no space on that lot to build a building. So that has a real impact on how many buildable lots they get out of this subdivision, is how that side yard requirements are determined. And there are 5 such examples on this plan. Here again, 15 feet is what's provided, 75 is what was required. Over here, same thing, 15 feet provided, 75 required. In the backside, 25 feet is provided where 75 feet is required. And over here on this lot, 50 feet is provided where 75 is required. So I believe that's a total of 5 areas where they come short in meeting that side yard setback.
That's the issue that we were discussing earlier, which is the applicant is advocating that they don't need those variances if all the open space is provided in one lot.
And who makes that determination that their position on that is correct?
Not you.
All right.
And by you, I mean the board, not the ZBA.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, they've represented that they believe that to be so, and you're not going to be making a determination on that because they've withdrawn that issue from your consideration. They've said, we don't need that variance anymore on this plan. You're not endorsing that, saying, yes, you do, or no, you don't.
So with that, we get to the action at hand, which is, the shortage in open space area that's provided by the plan. As I mentioned before, they need 2.67 acres. They only have 1.66 acres, so they are an acre short, which represents 31% shy on the requirement, which is substantial. And that is the one variance we're looking at. So to go over the 5 factors of determination, and 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting the area variance.
That's,
It's an obstruction right there.
keep it simple.
Yeah, my interpretation of this is, we're talking about the character of the neighborhood. What's adjacent to it are large, old, country lots that have a lot of area. Now they're going to be building this cul-de-sac serving 17 building units, and these lots that abut it, which used to have a neighboring lot next to them, will now have a roadway running through there. And, I think that, you add in having two because the other part of this is in the village, there are 2 lots being created in the village. That's like having a big driveway next to you. But in this case, when you add R15, you're up to 17 lots, and it's a true cul-de-sac. That's a lot of traffic to be adding next to a private dwelling.
When you take into consideration that we wouldn't even know what the engineering that's going to be involved in that road, right, to meet the cul-de-sac, I don't know, the grade there, or how much of a build-up, or how much they have to cut, right, because that's not part of what we've seen.
Right, the profile maps that
Right,
show.
so it's going to be hard to say, yes, it's either going to be, it's not going to improve it. It's hard to even say that.
Let me just jump in and make just kind of focus you guys and ladies a little bit more directly on the issue at hand, right? The issue at hand is not whether do we like the engineering of the project? Is the engineering of the project, what's the traffic? The issue is they're asking for a reduction in the open space requirement. So what you need to do is look at the balancing test on that open space, focus on the open space and what's the quality of the open space that's there, what's the detriment, if any, what's the benefit to the applicant on the open space issue.
Yeah, so the open space is broken up into 2 parcels, and one of them is only accessible over Lot 1. So it's relatively inaccessible. They don't show any easements leading to that, so even if it was for passive or active recreation, you can't get to it under this plan. The other side of the open space easement that's larger, it does have some frontage on the cul-de-sac, so you have some ability to access that area. But if you took out some of these, what we perceive to be too many lots, you could expand the open space easement so that you're not having heavy land development directly adjacent to existing homes. So that's one of the impacts of having too many lots here. And then item 2 is whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method which will be feasible for the applicant to pursue but would not require a variance. So they've given them multiple opportunities during the course of these meetings to, reduce their lot count and meet their open space requirements, and they have refused to budge from their.
If I could add, so remember when you're examining feasible alternatives, one of the things that applicants will argue to say, well, you have to take into account the benefit that we are seeking, and they'll define the benefit that they're seeking as that number of lots. So one of the questions, and I understand what you're saying, is that with fewer lots, you could still achieve a benefit, but not necessarily the benefit the full benefit that you're looking for, and you could reduce the variance sought for open space. You might want to address also the issue of the the alternative of the non-cluster development, to whatever extent that is an alternative. The applicant was advocating to you that that is an alternative and that they would end up building that, but that it was not as desirable of a plan from the planning board standpoint. So that's something that you might want to just talk about as well, or consider.
Right, so back in the beginning, they did show us their traditional development plan. I don't know if I have a copy of it right here handy. It wasn't much different than this plan, but the lots extended all the way back through the O&R easement, so that you took the O&R easement and put it in the ownership of 6 or 7 different parcels.
Lots, right?
Yeah.
One thing to take into consideration, the other plan, but it's really wasn't our main focus, though, right? It's hard to really understand or go in depth in that plan, because this is the plan that was in front of us.
Yeah, they did show us the additional subdivision. They came up with a lot yield of 15 lots. Well, in the cluster development zoning, that yield plan is the maximum number of lots you can get. It's not a guarantee on the number of lots you can get, it's the maximum. So, the answer may be here is that they don't meet that maximum. If they need those 15 lots, okay, item 3, whether the requested area variance is substantial. Yes, we all agree outright on that. Item 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical, environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
That's the whole purpose of this. Yes,
Yeah, and although we cannot get into the engineering topics regarding that, we'll skip over all of those things, the traffic impacts, the drainage impacts. Those are all real impacts that they're going to have with this plan. The technical from Orico Terrace is that this whole site is underlaid by solid rock, and they have shown us that they're looking to build utility lines that are going to be 26 feet deep below grade. So, and many of these houses were going to be 10 feet or more below grade, so that's a lot of rock to remove. Item 5, whether an alleged difficulty is self-created.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so would anybody like to make a motion on their request for a open space variance?
Make a motion to deny their variance for their open space variance request.
Second.
All those in favor?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Take a motion to authorize me to prepare a resolution, and for the, either for the chairman to sign if he finds it to be in order, or if not, to be
Including
discussed
that
at the next-
resolution that us not taking consideration their removal of that variance is that we have anything to do with
But I
that.
would, in any resolution that I would draft, I would make that clear, because that was clear on the record tonight, that that's what you're,
Yeah.
the way this came down, that it's my view, and I think the board's view, that the applicant removed that from your consideration by submitting this plan and saying, affirmatively said
Variance
that.
Being the variance for the side yard setbacks, the
Right.
building setbacks from the green area.
Right, and you're not passing any judgment on that,
Right.
because it's been withdrawn.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to have our attorney prepare a resolution for my review and approval.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is
Don't have January minutes. I realized I didn't email them to you, and I just finished February, so you'll have them for next month.
okay.
I know, we get so excited you'll have 3 together, because I'll get this one done too.
That brings us to item 6 on the agenda, adjournment of the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Third.
Having a race on it now.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.